guys, Linda Antwi here. Welcome to the Melanated Way. New season of Seeking Sister Wife. We are watching. We have questions. We have a lot of questions. It's definitely taken a different direction. And as you know, when I first started watching Seeking Sister Wife, I really didn't know anything about the lifestyle. And I feel like this season, it's a little bit different. So it's making me have questions. I know you have questions. You've reached out to me, and I don't know the lifestyle well enough. So I'm bringing on the king of kings, Jarod Clark. Welcome.
How you doing? Nice to be here.
Thank you for being here. Jarod, we have questions about all of it. Polyamorous lifestyle, polygamy, all of it. And I feel the last time I spoke with you, I learned a lot. And I feel like maybe it's time to talk about it again as this new season 4 um, comes out, because I want to dispel some of the rumors, and I also want to dispel some of the myths. And so, first, let's start with you. You have been on Seeking Sister Wife. You live the lifestyle. Can you tell all my viewers exactly how you got into the lifestyle again?
Um, well, the short version was I was always a person aware of my, ancestral heritage, understanding uh how generational wealth was created, how we came together as a people to actually create and build and have things.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Being honest, I look at other cultures in today's society, and they kind of work within, they work with each other. They allow their dollars to circulate, have a household that has, multiple families in that household. And it's not even necessarily uh, a plural or poly lifestyle, but it's just a larger family where everybody works together. So in my research, I'm looking at polygamy. I'm looking at how, in Africa, tribes were created and how they were able to pretty much hold things together. Couple that with the interest that my wife had, and it was like, well, I took that education, brought that to her, and it was something that we both agreed that we would like to explore.
And how long have you been living the lifestyle?
Living, I would say, at well, about 5 years now.
Okay. And have you brought on another sister wife?
So we are currently talking to two young ladies. One a little situation is a lot more serious than the other, but I believe that both would be. I think we're going to move forward with both. So
Oh, whoa, wow. So you might have two new sister wives at the same time.
yes, and both aware of each other, and I think the fact that here's something that I pay attention to in correspondence to the show. Um, if someone's going to be open and receptive to you, how could you in return not be open and receptive to another young lady coming in? To
Yeah.
me, that's a flag.
Yeah. I agree with that. And I think that that's one of the issues I'm having with the current season. So let's talk a little bit about first impressions. So we are 2 episodes in. Uh, we remember this couple, the Merrifields, which was Danielle, Garrett, and um, I'm Roberta.
Yeah.
And so Roberta still hasn't come to America. And last season, and I believe she was on your season as well, she was having major jealousy issues. Danielle was. And now they're trying to bring in a third sister wife. What are your feelings on this family? And do you feel like they're more of a traditional, uh, like polyamorous family?
So, I'm going to speak. I'm not a fake or a phony. So I'm just going to go ahead and keep it real with you. First and foremost, I would never ever divorce my wife to make anything work with someone from another country. I'm not doing it. Wouldn't do it. Wouldn't think of doing it for the simple fact of why would you break up your foundation to then try to build upon that? And
Right.
think about the foundation of a house. Why would I break up my foundation, then try to build upon that? Sooner or later, there's gonna be problems with that house that you're building.
I absolutely agree with you. And isn't it, and correct me if I'm wrong, but in the lifestyle, isn't there like the main first wife?
So everybody's dynamic is going to be different because at the end of the day, it's whatever you created to be. If that's what they created to be, then, but 9 times out of 10, you have a relationship that is established. That next wife is to come in and establish her own relationship. It's not about, okay, well, you guys been together for 14 years. I should have XYZ like she has XYZ. That is unrealistic.
Oh.
So yeah, so for I'll use my situation. Any woman that joins our marriage, they can expect to have a 14-year rapport the way that me and Vanessa do, because obviously we had that time to build with each other. Um and in these situations, yes, there's always going to be the one person that is there before you that has that rapport with the other individual. It's just common sense. It's not rocket science.
Okay. My opinion with this family is I think that Garrett loves Roberta. I think he's in love with Roberta. And it's interesting to me this season so far, finding him crying over her, wanting to spend one-on-one time with her. And they're courting a new person. And let me remove this and find the photo of them.
Yeah,
So
that's
they're
going to drop that. That's not love.
they're courting Leah. And a couple of things that were interesting to me these first few episodes, it looks like they have no chemistry. I think we lost your, oh, there he is. I think they have no chemistry. He's worried about her height. His words were she's bold, which I thought was an interesting word to use. And so far, we haven't seen any interaction with them. Do you think he's bringing on Leah as more of a companion to Danielle versus an actual sister wife?
um I feel like Danielle is like probably jumping with joy at right at this point, because she's not the she's not the woman in the relationship that has to open herself up to a new person coming in.
Yep.
Burden has been placed on Roberta, or Bert, whatever,
And
goes.
Gerard, does that ever happen where maybe one of the established wives is jealous of a new wife or a new woman that you're courting or dating?
Of course. Um, just with any relationship, monogamy, friendship, there's gonna be jealousy, because that's just human nature. That's something that you have to evolve over. Even in friendships, hey, this is my best friend and they're hanging out with these other people now. So regardless, it's always gonna be there we go. Jealousy is always gonna be something that you're gonna have to combat. Even if the lifestyle is something that you want in your heart. Um, the man in the relationship, they're going to combat jealousy as well, because you have to give those women time to bond. You got to give those women time to come together and create a relationship within themselves. So that means removing yourself from the equation and allowing them that time to bond as well. So jealousy is definitely it's going to play a part for anybody.
And so do you sit down and talk about it as a family? Like how do you, yeah, you said it's going to be a part of it, but how do you combat it?
um if you're an adult, I think you want to confront anything like that head on. If you actually care, it should be something brought up by the party that is feeling the emotion.
Mm.
Hey, I'm dealing with XYZ, and when this happens, I feel this way. So that those feelings could be addressed, and you can look at them for what they are. They are feelings.
Mm.
Being neglected, you're not being nothing's actually being done to make you feel less than.
Mm.
Uh, so if none of those things are happening, you address the feeling for what it is, which is a feeling, and that way, maybe the husband could step in and do. Sometimes you have to do a little extra to give that security or reassurance, and it doesn't matter whether it's the polygamy or whether it's monogamy. You're going to have to do that in a relationship, period. You're going to have to continue to give reassurance or security to your spouse.
Okay. I have a question, but I'm going to hold it. We're going to go on to the Foley family. So we have Brenda and Steve. They're courting a very young girl. She's 22, April. So my first question to you is, what was your first impression about Brenda and Steve?
I don't I guess I don't really have like a whole lot to dive into there. I think I think he's looking for something. If that's the best way I can describe what I get from that. Um, his wife is an attractive woman, but I don't know. I don't know if he's lacking something or he feels like he's definitely looking. I get the sense as a man that he's looking for something.
I agree with you. And I also think that Brenda doesn't actually want to live the lifestyle. And some of the things that she says also concerns me because I feel like she might be insecure in this relationship. So she talked about they went on this winery date. And Steve talked about how he has good chemistry with April, but she doesn't feel, Brenda doesn't feel like she's quite has that same chemistry. And so Steve is also looking for alone time in this episode and finds the alone time with April, the girl that they've been courting for 5 months. And he makes out with her. They have an intimate moment. Meanwhile, Brenda's, back inside by herself. And she literally says that she finds it hard um, because she wants to know, does Steve, love April more than her? And is he going to stop loving her, Brenda? So she's verbally saying her insecurities,
Mm.
and she's verbally saying that she's skeptical of the situation. And whenever you see Steve talk about April, Brenda's whole face just drops. She's upset about it.
Um, that goes back to what we were. It's one thing every woman in this world needs. I'm not going to say one. Everything it's one thing every woman in this world needs. It doesn't matter this like, career choice. I don't, including yourself. All women need security, and before going into a plural relationship, if that woman has not been receiving said security, she's going to respond exactly the way this young lady is responding. She is uncertain of her position.
And do you think that the way she came into the relationship plays a part of it as well? Because he was previously married, right? And she came in and dated the both of them, but then his wife left him. And so then she became the wife, but she
She,
wants to be the only wife. So do you think that plays a part of it? You're laughing, so I don't so
I'm laughing because again, how can you be? You came into a situation as the other.
right.
Now
And
it just it screams jealousy, it screams insecurity. It's like you didn't care what the other person felt, but now it's me.
that's exactly how it's coming across. And so I'm glad at least ding 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 I got one of them right. So far I'm one for well, I don't think the Garrett family, I think Garrett loves Roberta, period. I
I don't
don't
think
think he
I don't think it's lust. This is an exotic woman to him. He
mhm.
does wife. It's different to him.
Yeah.
Look at the he doesn't look at I'm sorry, but the African American young lady, what's her name?
Leah.
Oh,
Leah.
I'm having trouble with the name, but he doesn't look at her and engage her and engage. He doesn't have that same energy he has for Roberta. So if you look at those two young ladies, that's something that he sees on a regular, he's encountered on a regular. He's in America. That's normal to him. Roberta's exotic to him. She's different. He's lusting after her.
Mm. It's a good
And
point.
once that physical, your physical is gonna leave. We're gonna get old. These are gonna drop. You're gonna have wrinkles in your the body's gonna go, and all you're gonna be left with is what is internally, there to make you happy. And
Right.
he's looking for love in the wrong place, as they say. My person,
Agreed.
so it's lust. It's definitely lust.
Agreed. Okay. This next family, Gerard, so
Yep.
this next family that we're about to talk about has social media, the media, everyone buzzing. And I don't know if they're buzzing for the right reasons. And we're going to talk about it. So the Davis family, April, Nick, and Jennifer. Okay. I don't even know where to begin. So April and Nick have been together for like 12 to 14 years. Um, but when they met, she was like 6 months pregnant with someone else's baby, but Nick stepped in as the quote unquote father figure. And then they too, just in the last 5 years, brought in Jennifer, who is quite young. She's like 24. So when she met them, she was only 19, Gerard. Now, April and Jennifer got married so that they all can feel equally yoked in the relationship. Now, here's the kicker: Nick doesn't work.
Mhm.
Nick is a stay at home dad, his words. However, their kid, April's kid, is a grown ass child. He's like a teenager, self sufficient. Okay. And so he goes on to say how April and Jennifer are the breadwinners of the family. So, my question to you, Gerard, first of all, what is he bringing to the table? And I'm sorry because I'm really direct and I said it on my show last week. I'm just getting pimp daddy vibes from Nick and I don't appreciate it.
Okay. If you've learned anything about me, I shoot straight. Uh, I feel like these women. I feel like these women found somebody that looks at them the way that they desire to be looked at, because the dating pool is different for everybody. Physical appearance obviously matters, and he gives them the appreciation that maybe they don't receive regularly. And outside of that, the only thing he brings is physical pleasure.
Yeah, so yeah, exactly. And is that enough though? Is that enough? So like that's okay. So what I can't wrap my mind around is, can we go back to the definition of polygamy? Is it just multiple people in a relationship? That's the definition?
Polygamy, if to have a cut and dry definition, is basically to have multiple spouses, right? So
Okay.
the difference in polygyny and polygamy, polygyny is a man who has multiple wives. But in this case, the two women are married, so this would be more of a polygamy based relationship. He is he's I'm disappointed in the brother. I'm just gonna be honest. Like when he doesn't make us look good.
Facts.
Nothing, it's nothing cool. It's nothing like that whole, women like I don't like none of that stuff. Um
Like when he said, Gerard, that in our house the women are the breadwinners, I said, well, then what exactly is it that you're bringing to the table? because just like you said, we're all going to get older. You can only get dickmatized for so long before that's going to get old too. So then what? What are you bringing to the table?
Because I mean, if a man can't do anything but, you know, guide and educate his woman, he can't even do that because the experience and life that they're living, they're out there in the world, they're gathering, they're acquiring, and you can't even provide guidance.
That's right. That's right. And so the question that a lot of us have too is, so they're courting Danielle, this new girl who's also very young, 22, and he had his first one-on-one private date with her. So who pays for that? If he doesn't work, who pays for that, Jordan?
I guess basically paying for everything else. There's no way I can call myself a man and I'm allowing a woman to pretty much um take care of me. I mean, your mother, your mother should have been the only woman in your life to take care of you. And I think what's happening in today's society, single parent households or whatever you may have, men grew up with a woman, their idea of a woman is their mother. That mother takes care of them. Then they get with a woman and they want that woman to be their mother. So he thinks he's cool, but really he's lost a lot. He lost all dignity when I look at the situation. He has nothing to give those women but physical affection.
Yeah, so still, and sorry if you answer it. So do you think that the two ladies say, "Hey, we are giving you this allowance to court the new person"? Do all three of them say, "Oh, you can spend like $100 on this date. Here's $100"?
Obvious, he has a card and he probably just does what he want to do.
You think so?
I feel that he's probably still in charge. He's in charge of how things work. Like I feel like I get the vibes that he still runs the show. He just doesn't do he just doesn't do any of the he's not a cog in the machine. He's just the program, you know.
Yeah, okay, but Gerard, then, like I said, that gives me pimp vibes. Hiding behind the label that this is a polyamorous life, when really you're just a glorified pimp. Pimps don't work. They make their women work and then they collect all the money. And if he is indeed in charge of the household and running stuff financially, then that's what it is. We need to call it out for what it is.
I mean, I don't want to do the certain cultures are not going to accept that.
Hmm.
I feel if those he wouldn't be able to, even if the physical appearance of those women were what society deems to be less than, if they were of another culture, it still would not be accepted.
Yeah, I mean, I think this whole Davis family and them now trying to bring in Danielle is not a good look, in my opinion. And it's not a good look because I am still struggling with what he's bringing to the table. If you're not bringing anything to the table, how are you now then the prize? How are you now then the prize that they're like, oh, it's all about him? And he even says this. So Danielle, the one that they're courting,
Right.
really gets along with April and Nick. Oh, excuse me, April and Jennifer. Nick says to Danielle directly in the previous episode that we just watched that he's jealous because the attention that she's giving April and Jennifer should be the attention that she's giving to him. He's jealous because the attention is supposed to be on him.
We just spoke about that earlier. That's again secure. If you are insecure with your, I can't even do the he can't even do the simple things, which is situation to allow those women to build. If he was smart, he will let them become the best of friends.
Yep.
Because then you could continue to live and manipulate the situation the way that you have been for however long that you guys been together.
Yeah.
And manipulate because I mean if the facts were laid down in front of them, I feel like they would have to say, okay, well, either I accept it or I don't. And they're choosing to accept. So if they're choosing to accept, who am I to say what they should or shouldn't do? I'm just calling a spade a spade. And
Now, can I ask you something? Is it, for lack of better word, is it normal for these girls to be so young? So we're looking at Danielle, 22, and even Jennifer is only 24. Met him at 19. Is it normal for the lifestyle for the women to be so young?
in other, maybe in other cultures, other countries, yes, because it's based in marriage. But here in America, I think that younger women are attracted to the lifestyle because they are lacking something. And
Mm,
look at the relationship, they feel whatever piece that they are lacking, that they can somehow plug those holes up.
mm,
I feel like most of the time, if it's a young woman, like a very young woman, she's looking to fill a void.
mm. But don't you think that the very young women need to go and get some life experience first?
Um, I I mean, everybody's life is different. I know some young women who've been through, you know, they've been through hell and high water by the time they're, 22 years old. I've
Mm,
experienced personally myself.
mm,
Age actually dictates experience or wisdom. But I will say, um, I think from the male's perspective, they look at a younger woman as being moldable. This is
mm,
somebody who hasn't been tainted by the world. I can bring her in and I can shape her and mold her to what I need her to be for my relationship.
mm,
That's the attraction. I'm looking for something to fill this emptiness, and I'm looking to for something that I can shape and mold so I can fit their emptiness and they can fit this void, like
mm.
a attraction thing.
That makes sense. Now, how will this work? So, if April and Jennifer got married so that they could all be on equal grounds, Nick then would marry Danielle?
Traditionally, I feel like I don't know what made them do that because at this point he allowed them to marry. He's like irrelevant to the relationship as
Yes.
far as marriage goes. So if things weren't to go right, like they can pretty much say like you have access to nothing.
Facts. Those are
We
facts.
have 401ks, we have the savings accounts, we have this, we have that. Everything's in our name because I don't know what's in anybody's name. They might sign stuff over him. I don't know.
Right.
But point being is you have no legal rights to anything.
And so, how does it work in a traditional polygamous relationship? So, like,
They're
yeah,
gonna
how does it? So, like, if you and Vanessa are married, if you bring in these two new women, then do you call them your fiancés? Like, how does that work in America?
it's still going to be it's still going to be traditionally saying this is a young lady I'm dating. I don't like to say girlfriend. I refer to them as a queen. This is a woman that you know a woman of a certain status that I'm dating. And then we would still go through a ceremony of sorts. I would like to sign a contract because obviously I can't legally marry this woman, but that contract is to say that we have this bond, we've taken this commitment before God, so that she can still have that same level of respect, paperwork wise, as my wife,
Mm.
right? So now, legally, you know, I'm the type of person where I'm going to add you. I'm going to add you to certain paperwork, will. I'm going to add you to insurance and other documentation that my wife would have access to. Now you have access to it. The percentage may be different, but
Why is
obviously,
the percentage different?
because this is the mother of my children.
So for your family, do you not want more children?
Oh, I'm definitely open to more children. Vanessa is as well.
So if you, let's say you bring on a new sister wife and she's open to having children too, and you have a child with her, are the percentages different still, or because she would be technically the mother of your child as well?
Oh yeah, and if that was to happen, then obviously Vanessa has three of my children. She has one of my children. What that child needs and what those three children need obviously is going to be different. Still, it's
So let me ask you this then. You, so you have Vanessa with your three children, and then are hypothetical with one child, and then let's say you bring in the third sister wife, who just you guys decide not to have children. Does she get less than in the paperwork?
she's still going to receive her portion as what Vanessa will receive. But okay, so let's say if we just talking a dollar amount, I'm
Okay,
just I'm just making up a
but yeah,
dollar, right? So let's say I'm dead and gone. There's a $500,000 policy there, and so that $500,000, Vanessa will obviously receive a larger portion because she helped me, create and become the man that I am financially. So
okay, that makes
with
sense.
her having three of my kids, I need to make sure that she's going to receive a larger portion of that to then have make sure I provide a certain type of college savings, whatever that needs to be done for those three children. This young lady, she's new, so if I've been with her for 10 years and now it's past and I've been with Vanessa for 24 years, she cannot receive the same benefits as what Vanessa's going to.
I
And
see.
that's by report. You can't go into a plural relationship and a year in you feel that you've earned the same thing that this other person has earned.
Mm.
That is what probably deters a lot of women because it's like, well, he doesn't view me the same way he views her. But how could you? If you go into a company, you don't have seniority over somebody who's been there 10 years.
Yeah, but then you'll never have seniority. You'll never have that same level because like you said, she helped make the man you are today. So
Exactly.
no other woman is going to be able to be on that same equal platform.
Exactly, and that's the problem. That's the problem with plural relationships. People come in and they want to be on the same platform as the other woman. What I suggest is you create and build your own platform. You don't look at what we have and say, "I want to be on the level that she is with you." You create your own platform. This relationship over here is
With you. You don't
ex-
mean by themselves, right?
exactly
Okay.
exactly. And what me and Vanessa have. You should not be comparing what me and Vanessa have to what me and you are creating
Mm,
because on that you're always going to see a difference.
mm.
You're always going to see a difference because there's time there. I mean, if you're doing that, you're really causing yourself a disservice.
But so the part that I don't understand still, Gerard, is that the newer sister wife will never catch up to the
They
first sister wife. Like not ever.
up like it's a race, and I think that's where that's the part of it I kind of want to dispel. It's not a race, it's not a who's going to come in first or I can catch up and be at the same level of her. you're if okay, if it is a race, you're running two separate races. This race started 14 years ago, right? This race is starting now. So don't look at it as coming in first place. There's nobody else on the track with you.
But I'm not thinking as in competition, first place, second place. I'm thinking more of developing that deep bond that you want to develop in a relationship. Even if it's in a monogamous relationship, you want to have that deep bond with your partner. So
Right.
if you've already had a 14-year head start, how can the next sister wife ever get that same connection? Because
Here's my
by the time they get 14 years, you're at 28 years. Do you know what I mean? Do you see what I'm saying? Like, I don't get it.
I'm going to give you a better example. If somebody was married for 20 years and they get divorced and they get a new partner, does that new partner then have to say, well, I want to have the same level of respect and love as the person you just had 20 years with?
No, because it's different, Gerard, because you're no longer in a romantic relationship with the person that you divorce. And
It's because when you say romantic, it goes beyond romance. This is somebody you've learned quirks. You've learned the things that make them tick. You learn, I'm so what I'm saying is when you go into a plural relationship, you have to take on the responsibility of building with that individual, period. That relationship over there is none of your concern. And that's how I like to view it. What I'm building with you, we just met, and every day is a day for us to love each other more, to create more of a deeper bond, to create more of a deeper connection. You can't then stop and say, we've been together for a month. You don't you don't do this the way you do this with Vanessa.
I see what you're saying. So in actuality, then does that mean in plural relationships, they are really separate relationships
That
that
is
the man has with the women, but then the women. Oh, why are you rolling your eyes?
no. It wasn't an eye roll. I was saying you're 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 getting that's exactly what I'm trying to say. So let's say if it's three people, you have three separate relationships.
That okay, that's the part. Okay, so here's why I'm confused because let's take it back to the Davis family. They all sleep in the same bed together, right? So they all sleep in the same bed together, and then the two women are married. So I guess that's why I'm like confused, right? Because if you're explaining to me that in a plural relationship, the man has each separate individual relationships with the women, but the women are quote unquote sister wives in that they want to all get along like as if they were all best friends, right?
Okay.
Is that right? So then
Yes.
the the sister wives, and again it's not, I'm not clear about it with this, but the sister wives, they're not intimate, they're just friends, like best friends,
No,
right?
the wives can be intimate.
Oh,
Yes, they most definitely can be. There's not which is why I said in a polygamous relationship, uh that's why it means multiple spouses. It doesn't say a man with a woman, because it could be three women. It could be two women and a man. I've seen relationships where two bisexual women were in a marriage and they brought a man in, which is basically what how they're set up. They are the two women that are married and they brought a man in. That would be considered polygamy. But they didn't marry, but I don't know if they made a commitment of marriage to him. I'm assuming they have, but
okay, Jared, sorry, you're gonna have to bring it back to polygamy 101.
got
So traditional polygamy, the couple is dating the person or the man is dating the person.
so take gender for polygamy. The best way to look at it is to remove gender.
Okay.
So polygamy is multiple spouses. It could be a man who has who has another husband and another wife.
Okay, so but in that example, are the two men both dating the wife?
No, that would be polyandry. So this is why. So I'll do this. I'll do this. Okay, polyandry is a woman who has multiple husbands. The woman is the focal point, and the husbands are then geared to that one wife.
And the husbands don't, they're not intimate.
They most of the relationships I've seen that are polyandry based, sometimes the men are engaging each other,
Okay.
but
Okay.
they're uh, how can I say? I like to say focal point because that helps say that this person is the head of the relationship. So
Okay.
the woman is the head of the relationship, and honestly, it is her job to then,
Wait, you're cutting out a little bit.
yeah, it is breaking up a little bit.
Okay, so can you repeat that last part? It the woman in that relationship is the head?
Yes, in polyandry, the woman is the head of the relationship. She's the focal point.
Oh.
And in polygyny, the husband takes on multiple wives, and the man is the focal point. See, this is why, like on TLC Discovery, they call it plural relationships because you would have to give each relationship what it actually is. So they don't say polygamy, polygyny. They don't say polyandry or polyamory. They don't give the actual. They just say umbrella term of plural relationship. So
I wish they would teach us more about each one because I don't think I still understand it. I have a better idea, thank you, but I still haven't wrapped my mind around it because I think maybe there's no rules per se because again, if we go back to the Davis family,
yeah,
they pardon?
I said, yeah, you were breaking up a little. I was trying to make sure it wasn't me.
Can you hear me because I'm having a harder time hearing you.
Yeah, I can hear you. It just was a little. We're good now. I
We're
hear you
good
great.
now. Me too. Okay,
Right.
excellent. Okay, so I guess would it be fair to say that there's no true rules in pol- plural
I
lifestyles?
that's why I said each dynamic would be whatever that family, whatever that couple, whatever they decided it to be, and however they wanted to structure it, it's going to be completely up to them. I think that I think those terms are just boxes people use to kind of say, hey, here's a general term for what you're doing, and then you make up the details as you go.
Mm, got it. Okay.
That's
Okay.
the best way to put it. But you know, the original way, the what people mostly know, how our ancestors, how the world was created, there was two things.
Oh no, we lost him.
There, are you there?
We're here.
Okay. There was polygyny, which was a man who had multiple wives. He also had concubines. And there was polyandry, a queen who maybe had multiple suitors, or multiple husbands. Those were the two facets. Obviously, as time evolves, as sexuality evolves, they have to give new names and new terms, bring up out of what people are doing. So here comes polygamy to say, hey, polygamy is open to just multiple spouses, whoever and whatever, all married to each other, like gender norms now.
Got it.
The best way to just think about it is there's polygyny and there's polyandry. There's a man who has multiple wives and there's a woman who has multiple husbands. In the situation with the family here, even though those two women are married to each other, it seems that their commitment is to that man, not to
Yeah.
each other.
Yeah.
So technically that still would be polygyny. He's a man who has two wives, even though they're not legally married.
Got it. Now, I'm bringing on this last couple that I want to talk about, the Epps. So we have Taryn, Marcus, and India. And again, this is another. Okay, let me tell you. This is what I'm thinking. Here's another black man that is making black men look bad on national TV. I'm sorry, I said it. I'm having a problem with Nick. I'm having a problem with Marcus, and here is why. Here's why. Here's
Yes,
why.
ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
So he's married to he no Marcus meets Taryn in college. The way he introduces his wife is, "Oh, I was just sleeping with some girl, it wasn't serious. I saw your picture and I was like, I'm going to get that and I get what I want." And so 5 months later, I took her virginity. That's how you're going to introduce your black wife to the world? Then goes on to find out that not only is he an elected official, but he is an elected official that has a ton of skeletons in his closet and has multiple children outside of the marriage that he was in before it was an open marriage. Taryn's words. And so she said that basically he cheated on her. And what does he do, Gerard? He's like, yeah, I was juggling between 5 and 10 women at the time. So she decided that she was going to leave the house because it wasn't an open relationship at that time. So she moved out. And then he said, yeah, she took some time off just to see if she can make it without me. Another form, in my opinion, of disrespect. And then the year they spend apart, he is separately courting India, gets engaged to her, doesn't tell Taryn, but is also reconciling with Taryn. Taryn moves back in the house just to find out. So there's no communication that, oh, by the way, I've been spending the last year and have proposed to another woman who's also living in the house. And then instead of saying, hey, let's all talk about it because that's what you should do,
Right.
India was not on board. Taryn was not on board, but then he made them come on board with it.
Right. He didn't make anybody do anything. These I tell people all the time. These are grown women. They're not dogs on a leash. They're not being forced. Like these are grown women, and they're allowed to. The same way she made the decision to leave, she made the decision to return.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair. But they didn't want to. So they compromised what they truly wanted in order to be with him.
The word compromise or sacrifice, sometimes people go along to get, for the greater good, so to speak. And if that is what you felt like doing, that is what that individual felt like doing. I, I don't fault. He's he was wrong. There's no way around none of the other stuff. He was wrong. I don't agree with any of that. But what I'm saying is for the women to come back and accept it at that point in time, don't point the finger at him. Say you have to allow those women to be the adults that they are. You're an adult, you made the decision to return and accept what is. You have to accept all what comes with it.
So what was your take on this family then before I give you my views? What was your take on this family?
First off, people thought that was me. I don't know how.
You know,
I don't bald head beard. If I can tell you some messages, the things that were said, and I'm not going to sit here and bash nobody. I don't know this brother or whatever, but the things that were said, I'm like, it's clear that's not me. I did not leave Vanessa. It was like, what happened to Vanessa? Is that another woman with? I'm like, that's not me. Stop messaging me. But
But you know what? If you Google this family, the Epps family, you surely do come up.
look, all black, they got to stop that. Hey, I'm probably about almost probably 80, 90 pounds bigger than this guy. Like
And probably like 3, 4 inches taller. He's a little dude.
thought you was gonna go
A
the other
different direction. Yeah, I know you did.
but what I got from this family, if I'm being honest, it was a little disheartening because I don't want to project to society black families functioning this way. And it was a little dysfunctional in my opinion. And I felt I don't know what I don't know who signed off on this. Like I understand drama for ratings, but why can't we put our people in a place of light for love? Like why do we got to be dysfunctional?
Why do we got to be for? And I agree with you. So here's the thing. For me, he has come across as someone who is again using the label of polygamy to hide the fact that he's just a serial cheater. He's been cheating from day one and continues to want to have multiple women in his relationship, whether it was okay or not. And that's the part that is troublesome to me
Hmm.
because I my again and my understanding is obviously limited with even with the questions I'm asking, and I still haven't been able to wrap my mind around it, but I don't think that a true polygamous relationship is about the man or whoever, the woman, the person, just being able to step outside their marriage.
Nah, it's that it just because you can have multiple partners don't mean that there's no commitment. People leave out that part. It is a committed relationship, not just multiple. Polyamory means multiple loves, which removes the stigma for an in-depth connection or relationship.
Oh, so polyamory is multiple love without the commitment.
Because that's where if there was a commitment, then there's marriage, there's commitment, which then turns it into polygamy or polygyny, where there's now marriage, there's committed relationship. Polyamory allows that person to have multiple loves, not multiple spouses.
So maybe he is thinking he's in a polyamorous lifestyle. Would that be fair to say?
And that is a great point that you bring up because everybody's understanding of the lifestyle may be different, and maybe they haven't had an in-depth conversation of what it is that they're actually doing. Maybe these women are thinking that they're going to do and live a certain way, and maybe he's thinking that, oh no, I said I'm this and I want to do this, and his understanding is something different. So yeah, sometimes words matter, and
Yeah,
if you're
absolutely.
you could be sending the wrong message.
Now, I want to say that so far his wives seem amazing, and that's one thing that I'm very happy to see is that
I,
they seem well educated, they're beautiful, they present themselves with class, and so that's important to me because especially as black women, we don't often get to see that represented. I hope that my hope is that we move forward in the season and he just doesn't seem like he's disrespecting them.
yeah, I have one problem. So he gives me a little bit of and
Short man syndrome.
I did. I'm 5'8". I mean I'm average height for American male, as they say. I'm on the shorter end, so I ain't gonna say that. But he maybe comes across a little as a narcissist through TV, but that's because we don't know what conversation they have behind closed door. We don't know what their understanding of relationship is. But
Okay.
I believe we're receiving him the way we are because as great as those women are, and they have class to them, and I do like that.
I
I
love
feel
it.
like somewhat of enabling him. They're kind of enablers
Mm,
because if you put your foot down and say no, this can't move or operate that way because I won't accept it, then it can't happen. You can't
mm,
move direction with somebody that won't allow it.
got it. That makes sense. That makes sense. So do you think that perhaps they're compromising? Because part of me feels like
They're beautiful women. I don't get what they would need to compromise. Like
I
you can
agree with you. I
you
agree with you, but I'm thinking of Turin because Turin actually said um, he was doing these things outside of our marriage. He was doing these things outside of a marriage that a man shouldn't do. It wasn't an open relationship, not allowed to be juggling 5 to 10 women. And Marcus took advantage of her, and she feels he took advantage of her being so understanding. Those are her words.
I'm gonna say this. It got to be scripted. They're
Oh, you
messing
think so?
messing with us. They look. They're messing with us. It's that's not really what their relationship is about. They're on TV. They get in the bag, and they're great people because there is no way. There's no way that you continue to accept that. You don't complain about footsteps on you as you lay at the door and say, "Walk on me."
Yeah, I hear you. I hear you. Because they do definitely come across as intelligent, strong black women. And so I hear you. That you know what? You made me feel better about this whole relationship right now because I was not feeling it. I was like, how is he going to be so disrespectful when these women are obviously the prizes? They're beautiful, they're strong, they're intelligent, they're well spoken, they're classy, all of the things. So like,
It's,
how is he running amok and them okay with it? So okay,
man,
okay, I feel a little
it
bit better now.
has to be.
Yeah, I feel a little bit better now. That makes sense. Now, back to you and your family. Do you think that we will ever see you on TV again?
In the right situation, where we were able to actually tell our story and show as much positivity and love as there is the downs and negative, I would most definitely be open to that. I've been kind of documenting some things myself with what we have going on so that if anything was to arise, maybe I have the ability to show some things.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I love telling the story. You got me on here. I was never a talker until TV, and you know, I love expressing myself now. So
I think it's, and also too, you have a lot of knowledge, and I think that part of your journey, Gerard, is sharing that knowledge and educating people because I think that without the education, we all come up with whatever we think the lifestyle is, and again, that's because we're not exposed to it enough to know, right? So, I think that you were given this platform to also educate people on the lifestyle and polygamy and polyamory and what was the other one? What's the woman led one?
there's polygamy,
Polygyny.
yes,
Yeah,
polyandry, and polyamory.
got it. See all of that, all of that. My last question to you is, it's we're supposed to be outside this summer, and I see you with the fitness situation going on. What tips can you give us to be summer body ready?
Consistency. That's something like I push to my clients all the time. Consistency. Even when you don't have the motivation, even when you don't feel like you seeing no change or feel no change, doing is always going to be better than not doing. So as long as you're making forward progress, is better than no progress. Just continue to stay consistent. That's the simplest piece of advice I could give.
And is that consistency in the gym and in the kitchen, or is it the gym over the kitchen?
If you got to pick one, you can never outwork a bad diet. So if you're putting clean fuel into your body, consistently making the correct choices in the kitchen, the gym is just going to be a bonus. And so I feel like consistency in the kitchen is going to always outweigh consistency in the gym. You know,
Okay.
for 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 visual purposes.
Got it.
That's
I appreciate your time. Jarod, where can our viewers find you online so that they can continue to follow you?
I'm on Facebook at Jarod Clark. I'm on Instagram at House Muscle, which is my fitness brand. Um, also where I get my online coaching, uh, a life coach as well, and I also coach and trying to create their poly lifestyle. So, um,
So you cut out on a little bit of that. So Jarod Clark on Facebook, Madhouse Muscle on Instagram. Is that correct?
yes, spelled exactly outside Ad House Muscle, MADHOUSE
Perfect. And you guys, I'll put all his links below so you can just directly link to him. I appreciate you. I appreciate your time. Thank you for the education. And of course, thank you for our first look at the cast of the fourth season of Seeking Sister Wife. First look. Appreciate it.
I love it. I appreciate you. It's always cool talking to you because I'm able to just be real with you. You have sometimes you feel like you're in the twilight zone. It just feels like I'm talking to a real person instead of somebody with some unrealistic views. So you know, anytime you need me to chop it up with you, I'm here. I love talking to you.
I appreciate it. I appreciate it. Thank you so much for your time. Guys, make sure to check out Seeking Sister Wife, episode 3 coming up, and we'll talk about it with all of our new knowledge. Bye for now.